But as Scott Brasta tells us, aside from your physical discomfort, there's also the mental anguish or even fear for some that someone may have contracted the virus from you. He has more in tonight's Rebound.
So you've been diagnosed with COVID-19, and what you and your body are going through is tough enough. But what about that extended scope? What about the people you love, the people you're close to, the people you work with? In your own mind, in your body, you start to feel a little something called guilt.
I was a little bit embarrassed. I don't know why. Catholic guilt. There you go.
Popular radio personality J.C. Falcon was diagnosed with COVID-19 in late June. And even though he'd already been working remotely and had been pretty isolated, there were a few people he had to contact about there having possibly been some contact.
I was concerned about what I would feel if someone else contracted it from me.
Sure.
You know, which is kind of a selfish feeling in one way, but the other way, you know, you want to make certain that you don't affect anyone else because you don't want to be the cause of someone else's sickness.
Those feelings were consistent with those of Opelousas Mayor Julius Alcindor, who, shortly after his late July positive test, saw his wife and daughter test positive as well.
That scared me, really, really scared me. There were days of fear, there were days of crying, thinking of myself, but more so, I brought this into my house. I brought this to my family.
And in the mayor's case, there were also older family members to consider.
I've been around my mother. I've been around her sisters and my uncles, who were all in that 75 to 85 year range. At-risk population, and my cousins.
But for both men, the potential exposure and test results were something they knew that had to be shared for the family and for the greater good.
And of course, I called them immediately and said, hey, you might want to isolate yourself and get tested.
You know, both Mayor Alcindor and J.C. Falcon said initially they did feel a little self-conscious, a little embarrassed. But when it came to the big picture and protecting the people around them, letting them know about the diagnosis was a no-brainer. In Lafayette, Scott Brasta, Katc TV3.